like everyone looks the same. It's very weird to see you guys in person and have just watched the show. I'm like, how? Everyone looks the same. Except I will say, the only person I think looks better is Peter Gallagher. Oh my God.
He has
got like
aged
salt
well.
and
He's
pepper
definitely
hair.
got that silver fox
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
Totally.
Fine glass of wine, that Gallagher.
Well, when you get up into when you have to start using a magnifying mirror, you start seeing the differences up close. Thank you very much. We are just chit-chatting along with one of our favorite ladies here. So welcome to the OC, bitches.
Welcome to the OC, bitches.
Bitches! We are doing season 3, episode 4, The Last Waltz. And you know what? Today, we are joined by the lovely and talented Kayla Ewell.
Hi, guys.
You say Ewell, right?
It is Ewell, yes. Thank you.
I tried it. Somebody said Ewell, and I was like, no.
It's the worst last name. It's okay. It follows me everywhere I go. I'm so used to it. But I have to say, I'm so glad you guys used Welcome to the OC, bitches. That's very specific. It's a specific choice. It could have been Welcome to the OC. But you're like, no, we're going to add that bitches in there.
Yeah,
and I love it.
We committed.
Yes, the play on the original.
Right.
So Kayla, she played Casey. She was that first nice, not so nice girl to Marissa at Newport Union she was on for 3 eps. And you know what? I love finding out that you're a California native. I kept thinking like I was the only one from Orange County, but anyway. But you were born in Long Beach. You started performing at a very early age, and I loved reading this. You began touring in a national Broadway company children's chorus for the production of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat by the time you were in 4th grade.
You guys know everything. Wow. There's nothing I can hide. Okay, cool.
She went on to memorable roles on Freaks and Geeks, Bold and the Beautiful, and Entourage, and of course, The Vampire Diaries.
Yay, hi,
Playing
Mom.
Vicki Donovan. Hi, honey. How are you in hell?
Only in television world is this my mother. Like, for real, that's crazy.
Oh, my gosh. She also has a very popular podcast called Directionally Challenged with my other favorite girl from TVD, Candace King, a podcast about realigning your internal compass. Thank you for joining us in the pool house.
Oh, this is such a cool pool house. I feel like we're going to go swimming. We can get a tan afterwards. I love it. And you guys came on our podcast, so thank you so much.
We
and
did.
It's so fun to be here today. I can't wait.
So you guys are still doing it, right?
We are, yeah. I feel like podcasts are really fun. We started ours, it's now year 6.
Yeah, you guys are before the big
before
boom.
everyone sort of had one, only because it was well before COVID. And we were kind of just feeling a little lost in our lives, honestly, for real. And then we thought, well, if we feel this way, I'll bet other people feel like that. Maybe we should start a podcast and see if we can kind of figure things out. Spoiler alert, we're still lost. Totally lost, but it's okay. We're still trying. So we're in year 6 and it's fun. We have friends on, we have experts on, and just sort of, learn as much as we can about life. But the best part is we don't have to have it all together. I feel like nowadays with social media and all of that, everyone sort of puts this mask on where they do have everything together. And it's really nice to have the permission to just be real and honest.
I think it's one of the most rewarding things, and thanks to Rachel for calling me up and asking me to do this podcast. Number one, to actually connect with people that you wouldn't normally have conversations with. But like you said, to learn. And your podcast, you interview experts from all kinds of different fields, whether it's entertainment, psychology, science, just anything. And like the sky's the limit, right?
Yes. So we just did one of our newest episodes that's out is about the power of silence. And these 2 incredible individuals came together. They teach this. They taught these techniques to everyone at NASA. They taught them to everyone at Harvard. And now they're teaching them to us. And I'm like, are you sure you want to do this? I mean, we'll do our best. We are nowhere near qualified. But it's about the power of silence in a world of noise and trying to quiet your mind and just simple things that you can do. And it seems so trivial, but little things make such a difference. And so I find myself finding little tidbits every time we do an episode and trying to implement them. It's a lot though. So sometimes it works and other times I'm like, nope, that's not going to work. Scrap that. So.
You know what? That just goes along with every week. For some reason, I kind of gravitate towards one little mantra or something that pops up, whether it's on social media or TikTok, wherever you get it. But one of the things was a neurologist that I tend to follow or have seen some of his work. He said, it's been proven that our thoughts can make us sick. Thoughts that cause stress and stress can cause sickness. Then it goes without saying that our thoughts can make us well as well. So silence and turning off that internal thought that's negative is a big deal. Yeah. So I'm going to listen to that one.
Yeah. Well, I typically go turn towards silence in the car. But this morning I turned towards welcome to the OC bitches and listen to you guys. And it's a great way to start your morning, I do have to say. Lots of energy, so much fun.
Well, if you're listening to Michael Cassidy, you cannot do anything but smile ear to ear.
There's nothing but energy with that one.
Such a good episode, you guys. It was so fun.
Well, and Rachel just launched a podcast this week doing essentially what you love to talk about as well.
Well, we put it that way. Let's just say, it's called Broad Ideas, and it's more of a transparent, open dialogue for women or anyone. We talk about things that are usually taboo and just giving a safe space to speak freely and openly about everything. Which is
amazing.
Fun. Yeah, it's fun.
Thank you. Thank you for that, because it's true. Like, there are a lot of topics that we don't feel like we can talk about as women. So to have a space to do that, to listen, to be a part of a community like that is really special.
Right.
Oh, I'm excited for you. Cool.
Oh, thanks.
Guess what I'm listening to on the way home.
Yeah, it's been fun. Best friend of 30 years and I are doing it. So, just girl talk. But I love your podcast and I love the whole silence thing. Just reminds me of like Eckhart Tolle. Do you know Eckhart?
Yeah, of course.
Like, it's just his whole mentality is kind of what I like to abide by. But anyway, that's like a whole other tangent. It has nothing to do with the OC.
I know.
But we'll have to talk more about this at another time.
But we do have to acknowledge, congrats on your second
thank
child.
you.
Yes.
About to.
Are we using any of this video? Can people see or no?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
it's on
okay.
YouTube.
Oh, you are. Oh, hey, YouTube. How's it going? Okay, so for those that are actually watching, you can totally see the belly. For those who are listening, I'm about 7.5 months pregnant, and I am like ready to get this baby out. I am excited. We're a few weeks away. Let's do this. It's round 2, so I feel like I know what to expect. Round 1, I was like, with my first daughter, I was like, oh, well, this will be easy. This will be great. We got this. Now I'm like, oh, I know what we're in for.
Right.
We are not going to sleep and it's all good.
Were you, with the first baby, I just remember feeling it's so precious. She's a little eggshell that could break and those nurses are flinging her around and everything.
Totally.
So now,
and when we left the hospital, I was like, wait, who's going to take care of, it's me.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to make these decisions? Okay.
Yeah.
Now you realize how kids are, they just bounce back.
yeah,
Totally.
they're meant to bounce.
Yeah, they are.
That's why their head's so soft. It's just dribble 'em.
Totally. I remember our pediatrician who came to the hospital when my daughter was born was like, nope, don't have to be safe. Just like flinging him around, just like you're saying the nurse did. And that first drive home, I'll never forget, like putting her in the car seat, like, oh my God, is this going to squish her? Is she okay? It was so nerve-wracking. And the first time mother thing, the fear is so real. And I hear from so many of my friends and from you, like the second time around is so different and a piece of cake. So,
well, I have yet to experience it, but my feeling right now is, when we get into the car, I won't be like, should we take the freeway or should we take side streets? Now I'll be like, we're fine on the freeway. It's okay.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but I'll keep you posted.
There's
Yeah,
nothing
keep us
worse than
posted.
having an infant in the car driving from Orange County to LA and pouring down rain with like white knuckles.
I know.
Knuckles.
And, for anyone who doesn't live in LA, the traffic here is real. The drivers are crazy. You have to be a defensive driver. You have to be careful and make sure that no one's going to freaking ram their car into you. Because guess what? Like, I almost got in an accident on the way here. Someone was blocking the intersection. And I was like,
God.
what are you doing? Like,
You have
that's a day in the life.
Yeah,
here.
you have to assume people aren't looking at you.
Yeah, they're on their phones.
Yeah.
Everyone's on their phone all the time.
everyone. No, it's gotten so bad. And the traffic's gotten so bad. And Mindy used to talk, traffic 18 years ago when she was driving to the OC. And it's gotten even worse. So imagine if you had to do it now.
Well, imagine. So we were driving. Do you remember? We were driving. People still to this day talk about the drive to Manhattan Beach, how awful it was.
I lived in Manhattan Beach
No way.
we were shooting the OC, you guys.
Of course you did, because you were
way.
close to home.
I was close to home. I went to Loyola Marymount University and lived in Manhattan Beach. And I remember my first call from wardrobe was like, hey, get here as soon as you can. And I didn't realize they assumed I probably lived up in West Hollywood. So I was like, oh yeah, no problem. I'll see you soon.
15
and
minutes.
I was there in like 10 minutes. And they're like, what are you doing here? I'm like, you said get here as fast as you can. I live like a few blocks away. And so I felt lucky to actually be able to shoot so close to home.
Yeah.
Right.
And it takes the pressure off because a show like The OC in its heyday. I joined season 3, which you guys were everywhere at that point. It was like you couldn't turn on the radio without hearing Phantom Planet. You couldn't like open a magazine without seeing your guys' beautiful faces. You were everywhere. So to join a show in its prime was so nerve-wracking. I think I was 19 at the time. It was one of my first jobs where I was a fan of the show that I joined. You know what I mean? And so it was the coolest experience, but also the most nerve-wracking. So to be able to be in Manhattan Beach, also playing a story and a character that was similar to who I am. You're right, I am from Orange County. And so it was, in the wheelhouse of stuff I had experienced before. And so that made the entire experience more enjoyable and not as intimidating, because it is intimidating.
So you're from Long Beach, but then you went to Orange County school.
Yes. So we were interdistrict transfers. I went to school in Seal Beach. And for anyone who knows Orange County, Seal Beach is sort of the least fanciest version of Orange County.
Dana Point used to be like Seal Beach.
Yeah.
And now it's, But there's shows like the OC that have made everything all fancy down there.
Right. So there's a version of the OC that is actually just like kind of beach bum people.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is sort of what we played going to Newport. What's the school?
Newport Union.
Yes.
Newport Union.
Well, and yes, that's true. Well, we'll get into that. But it's like, I went to, in this episode, she's going to Newport Union. But of course, I have to look it up. And it's like, it's called Newport Harbor, which is the public school. And if you look at a satellite, you can see the ocean. It's up on a hill. It's
like
a
beautiful.
nice school.
Yeah, no, it's Miracosta. It's Miracosta High School, which we shot at, right?
Oh, no,
Before
I'm
Newport
thinking,
Union.
No, but Miracosta is where we shot at in Manhattan Beach, but the school actually in Newport Beach that this is supposed to be after.
I see. Yeah.
If you were to go
got
to
it.
public school in Newport, it's nice. It's really nice.
Sure, it's nice.
But everything is a perception, It's like when we get into the episode and Marissa's there for her first day and the Ryan, Seth, and Summer are dropping her off. I kept thinking, I'm like, what is so bad about the public school? Except we have to think about it in terms of these kids who have been in private school since kindergarten, probably, and they only can think of it in terms of how different it is from their school, which is this fancy private school. And they probably have maybe 18 kids per class, and now they're going into 35, 40 kids per class kind of thing.
Right.
And of course, just that they're missing their friend. But it's, I was like, at first I was like, what's the big deal? But it's just because of their perception.
It is a big deal. But I think, it just brings me to like contemporary, this day and age. Growing up, I went to public school up until high school. And then I went to, the same one that CG goes to, Mindy. But my daughter, she's in private school right now because I don't have a public school near my house. Actually, I don't even have one. And the ones that I do just aren't, maybe rated the best or whatever it may be.
Right.
And I just think it sucks because I grew up in public school and loved it. And I just wish.
Same. I loved going to public school. It was so fun. And it was such a great experience. I had so many great friends that I still have today.
Me too.
Because growing up here, they're still close. And I think it was a great experience. But we also love the drama. You want the difference between the private school and the public school.
Right.
And you really saw that in this episode between the two dances. Oh my
gosh.
I didn't realize the difference. I mean, you brought in sand, right? Mitchell, for your dance. I mean, that sounded amazing. And we had like a few green streamers and a punch bowl.
I gotta say though that it was hysterical when Johnny says, we have a dance, and Marissa's like, what's the theme? Under Winter Wonderland, Under the Sea, and he's like, Jim. It's gym theme, which, by the way, is exactly the way my public high school dance was. It was they had it's called a mall. It wasn't necessarily in the gym, but it was exactly what a public high school dance looked like. There was never a theme.
The theme was dance. The theme was you're welcome.
Right.
You get to go to a dance with a DJ.
Yeah. Do you remember getting the role of Casey? And do you remember what that was like? Or
oh my God, of course. Yeah. So like I said, I was a huge fan of the show, obviously. And so I this sounds so dramatic, but I remember when the sides came in. And this was back in the day, obviously, when we didn't get sides on our phone. We couldn't print them out from home. It was like maybe they were faxed in. Oh my God, I'm dating us, you guys. We're old. We're so old. And so I remember getting the sides and reading and being like, wow, this is the OC. Like, this is so cool. I get to audition for this show and being so excited for it. I think originally I had auditioned for the role of Taylor. And
you
felt that
did?
excitement of like,
Oh,
wow,
no
look
way.
at the character names and all of that. And then Casey came in. And then it was just so easy because I think I'd been in for the casting director several times. And then there were just a few of us at the callback. And I remember it was a Friday and I left and was still in college at the time. And then went back to my apartment with a bunch of my roommates who were also in college. And we were planning like what we were going to do that night because, you know, obviously Friday night plans are the most important thing to teenagers. And I didn't even, the calls were coming in that I booked the role and didn't even, I had kind of forgotten about it because I don't know. And then all of a sudden it came in and I was like, no way. And so all my roommates were huge fans. Everyone at school knew. It was so cool. So I went from being, you know, just another new girl at a freshman in college to being like, oh, this girl's on the OC. So huge props. Thanks, guys, for making me cool.
Do you remember your first day?
I do. I remember my first day because it was like everyone is so tan on this show. Did you guys get spray tans or
I did in the beginning, and it
Okay.
started messing with me and making me smell funny, so I stopped.
and this was back in the day when like spray tans were still new-ish.
They were gross.
They were sticky.
Yeah.
They were smelly.
yeah.
They were weird. But I remember, I don't think I got an actual spray tan, but they just kept putting so much makeup on my skin to make me tan.
Oh, really?
And I mean, it looks great on camera. Now I'm like, maybe I should go get a spray tan because everyone looks so good. But I remember having hair and makeup and feeling so good and confident and being so excited. And Mira Costa, the high school we shot at, was the high school my brother went to.
Oh my
Oh, funny.
And so that
gosh.
was really fun. And there were so many parallels. And then I got lucky because I joined the show at the same time as Ryan Donahue and Johnny Lewis, who
Right.
played Johnny and Chili.
Right.
And so I felt like I had this kind of set of friends who were new as well. It's like
Mhm.
joining, you know, on the first day of school and joining with people who are also new. So it wasn't
It makes
just
it more
me.
relaxed.
Oh my gosh, it was so easy. They were so fun. Their
Yeah.
personalities were so fun and easy that I felt like the three of us kind of were in it together, which made the experience awesome. And you guys were all so nice because
Aw.
obviously you join a show thinking like, oh, I hope everyone's nice and being a fan of the show as well. And so to have you guys just be so welcoming was the cherry on top for sure.
Oh my gosh, I
Aw,
love that.
Yeah. That's
I
so
mean,
cool.
I'm trying to remember. I remember that we got to, there were a few beach scenes where I got to cross
Right, you guys are in the makeup chair. Even though none of us were in the same scenes per
Right.
se at the same time, we're the makeup room, everyone's sort of like in and out of the trailer at the same time and everyone's eating lunch together. And
Yeah.
so I definitely had a few experiences with you guys where it was like, hey, how's it going? Hi. And I remember leaving being like, oh, good, they're so nice. This is so
Aw.
cool.
I love to hear that.
Which is fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah,
Well,
you
yeah.
never know.
Everyone
never
has a
know.
bad day, right? You can catch everyone on a bad day for sure.
Well, it's good that
No,
it was
it
such a
was so much
positive
fun.
experience for you. And,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
and it was so fun, that whole storyline. Like, I actually love seeing Misha at public school and we're meeting all these new characters and it's just created this new storyline that I'm excited to see play out.
Yeah, it was a fun storyline for sure. I mean, I only did 3 episodes with you guys. I felt so sad. They made Casey sleep with Volchek.
I know.
I mean, let's
What?
be clear here.
yeah.
Let's be clear here. I'm not sad about the fact that I got to sleep with the character of Volchek, but I was sad that it meant I left the show.
Well, and
Aw.
for some reason, I had it in my head, and so you only signed up for the 3-episode arc.
Yeah.
And then they wrote, because I was like, I wonder if she was off on some other show, because why wouldn't she stuck around? But it was
Yeah,
just
I mean, I don't
simply-
know why they didn't keep Casey around. There were a lot of new characters though. And when you look at it now in hindsight, I think Casey was solely there just so that it was okay for Marissa and Johnny to get together, right?
Yeah.
Because Johnny has to have a girlfriend
Right.
in order
Right.
for everything to be okay. Otherwise, there's
To create the drama
to
that
create
comes up.
the drama. Yeah.
that's
So
coming
I
up.
think I did my job. And then they
Yeah.
were like, okay,
Aw.
but you're welcome. I mean, it was a great little sign off. Like, we're just going to let you have this amazing intimate scene with this hot man.
Oh my
Even
gosh.
even my husband was like, oh my God, you got to do, because he
Uh,
watched the show growing up. But he also was like, I don't remember any of it because it's been so long, which is
Right.
amazing. This is why you guys have this podcast so we can tell all the stories.
I thought Cam was one of the prettier faces
Oh
to
my
show up
God.
on set.
You
For
think?
sure. Wait,
Yeah.
so he's at Newport Union too? Is that where we're gonna meet him?
We meet him.
So
He's
not
in
in this
he's
episode that we're-
surfing. He's
Right.
a surfer.
Oh, he's a surfer.
Right.
Okay, anyway. So I'm learning as I go here, as everyone knows. But I will say, as we've gotten to season 3, I'm seeing things and I'm remembering.
No
Ooh.
way. That's huge.
Really?
It's huge. Like,
Interesting.
yeah, like
So
Summer's
point 'em out.
house. Like Summer's house. I'm like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
totally remember that location. I totally
we
remember
have
shooting there.
We have huge memories there, Rachel. That's when we got into watching Project Runway. We would watch it during
like
upstairs,
setups.
Upstairs in the gym. There was a gym above the garage.
Oh yeah, I
And
remember. Oh my God, I just remembered. Oh my God, this is gonna sound. I shouldn't tell this story because I'll sound like an asshole. I'll
No,
tell
you
you
have
guys
to tell it.
not recording.
We can
got
cut it out.
I got offered like a really cool magazine cover while we were in that gym at that location, and I passed on it because they wanted me to show my ass, and I was like, I'm not showing my ass. But
Is that the Rolling Stone one?
Oh yeah, it is.
She already told that story.
I did? Oh, when Josh told me I passed on something else.
Yeah. No, that
But that's
it was
where
that
I was.
and the Super Bowl commercial.
Oh God. Okay. This is
We
when
could do
things
a whole
get.
episode on everything you've passed on.
I mean,
We
When
could
the
do,
show
like,
was super hot.
I look like such
you know
an
that movie Sliding Doors with
idiot. Yeah, with Gwyneth Paltrow?
It's like, what if you had taken the
You
Rolling Stone
know,
cover?
Yeah, what the fuck, man? What an idiot I am. It's okay.
No.
My
well,
ass
we
is
talked
still
about
well
this-
protected.
Yes.
We talked about this right before we get into this, but I wanted to mention right before we started recording that I got to do the Vampire Diaries.
Right.
And when I showed up, the whole cast was like, you know, you're Vicky's mom and you'd just been killed off the show.
I know.
And I was like, well, where is she? But you were still there. So we got to hang out in Atlanta.
We got to hang, and we had one epic weekend.
It was
at
quite a party.
Cabin in,
It was Zach's birthday.
It was Zach's birthday. So Zach Roerig, who played Matt, who was my brother, your son.
Yeah.
But we were like, I just remember Zach is hilarious and sometimes wildly inappropriate, and it's why you love him. But he was just like, man, our mom is so hot. I was like, yeah, she is. You're right.
So
Like,
Zach
it's
and
so
Stephen
true.
McQueen, they were like, we're going to take you out. And I'm like, okay. So there's a very famous old strip club where this retired strippers go in Atlanta. And they're like, they just wanted to see the look on my face when I get to go see.
It's definitely everyone understands when you go to Atlanta, you have to go to this place.
This place, yeah. Anthony Bourdain went
Did
in
he
one of
really?
his episodes.
Wait, what's it called? What's it called?
I don't remember the name. We'll find out. But it's
Okay.
where the elderly strippers.
Oh, I'm gonna kick myself.
It's kind of a famous place.
It is famous, and their tassels are on fire, and they're maybe 70, 80 doing the thing, and it's a whole thing. But it's great and it's empowering. They love it. Like it's definitely a huge part of Atlanta.
Yeah,
That is so
I got to
cool.
be there that first season. The first season that is so much fun,
Yeah.
and it's a young cast, and everyone's just in love with each other and having a blast. Not that you guys are always, but it was like that kind of young energy, and it was like. Woo! It was
For
fun to
sure.
be
Well,
part
you
of.
remember, I'm sure you guys remember, when you're on a show that is
On location.
skyrocketing. On location was
Yeah.
key because everyone had moved to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you feel that energy. You can
Yeah.
tell and
yeah.
you know that this is something special and you're a part of it and it's great.
My daughter is completely obsessed with Ian. She's like, I can't. So her whole TikTok is all about the fact that my mom made out with my celebrity crush.
Oh my
and
God,
she's
that's genius.
and it just goes on and on and on. And Ian finally commented at one point, and so my daughter was totally embarrassed. And I was like,
That's amazing.
That's so cute.
I mean, everyone's obsessed with Ian, and it's like the Ian Summerholders and the Cam Gigandes, and like there's just there are a few like extremely beautiful men that exist in the
Yeah,
world
for sure.
that even in the morning in the makeup trailer they walk in and you're like, no, you're not allowed to look that good at like 4 a.m. It's just not allowed. And of course they're probably hungover and haven't really slept and they just look so good.
oh, but they look even sexier.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
true.
It's so annoying.
And they
How
smell
dare
a
they?
little, but you're like, it's a good smell. I'm fine
Yep,
with it.
I'm familiar with it. Yep.
But how interesting! Like Nikki Reed was on here, and now we're all kind of. It's all the small worlds that come together,
Small,
and there's so many
very
different
small, and
connections.
It is
Yeah.
really
incestuous.
cool. I know. It's
Yeah.
fun. And I mean,
Yeah,
you're right.
like
It's
Paul
very
Wesley
incestuous.
he was on the OC.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there's
Yeah.
so many connections. It's just blows.
You guys
it's, like,
have got to
mind-blowing.
get him on this podcast. We need Paul.
Yeah, we should have.
Well,
Paul.
yeah, we kind of that was last year.
Did we
missed
try?
out
Did
on
we
it.
this
try? I
episode.
don't know if
Okay.
we reached out to him or not. Did we?
Maybe not.
don't
I don't
know.
know.
I
But
don't know
he's-
either.
I know he's still really close friends
With Ben.
With,
Ben.
Ben.
It's
like
they're
they're like best
really
friends,
close. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was randomly at a friend's wedding and Ben was there, and he's like, "Hey, how's it going?" It's just such
Aw.
a weird small world
There you go.
where you see people over and
Yeah.
over again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Super incestuous, as we said.
Well, let's talk about this episode a little bit because we could just continue
I
a
mean,
little.
yeah, I'm
Let's
having
do
a
it.
great time. Oh, the episode, right. Yeah, I mean, there's so much going on here. And I think we should start with the whole Newport Union of it all, because obviously that's where we meet your character, Casey, obviously. And obviously, I mean, you guys,
wanna
I'm
do the
brain dead. I've
synopsis?
been trapped in my house for too long. I can't think straight. But yeah, so I
do you
have a
want? Do you want to
question.
do?
Oh, the synopsis? Yeah, I'll read the synopsis. But then I have a very important question, and you probably know the answer, Mindy. Okay.
Okay.
The synopsis is Marissa attends a new high school, Newport Union, and makes new friends with Johnny, Casey, and Chili, all who make Ryan slightly jealous. Julie's mansion gets repossessed, and she is left with absolutely nothing but a broken heart. And Summer and Seth deal with Taylor, who has taken over the homecoming dance, much to Summer's dismay, but Summer uncovers a very damaging secret between Dean Hess and Taylor. Directed by Ian Toynton, written by John Stevens. Original air date was September 29th, 2005. Okay. Why
It's a good
is
episode.
Ryan not going to Newport Union?
Okay. So we see that we talked about how they we don't have to go back over that, how she gets dropped off.
Yeah.
So then Seth has that wonderful line where she's like, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. She looks really cute, by the way. But then Seth goes, and that's the last time they
Mhm.
saw of her or something.
Right.
Which I thought was, but then Ryan goes straight home and says to Sandy, I want to go to
Right.
public school, right?
Right.
And he says, no, you have a home tutor. First of all, he says,
Oh, he said that. I
tutored
missed that. Okay.
tutored
Mhm.
Stallone's kids,
Oh,
which
really?
I don't know, why is that random? Like,
that is random.
did they put that in there?
Probably a little like ode to his love of the movies. I don't know.
Something like that.
Whatever.
But all I could think was he's keeping him home. They're not really expanding on the idea that I think it's a really good idea. At this point, Sandy's not saying, because you get in trouble and you at a public school is just, you're going to get into more fights. You just hit the principal with your fist. I think it's smart to keep him home at this point. With
Right.
all the
Okay.
trouble that
So
he's,
I missed that.
Don't you
They're
think?
homeschooling him.
yes.
They're
Got it.
homeschooling him, and they make it a point of, he needs to really make sure he gets his grades up so that he
Right.
can go to college. So
Yeah.
I think getting him into college is Sandy's main goal.
Right.
And he thinks the best way to do that is to homeschool him. But I
And
feel
to keep
so
him-
bad for Ryan. He's always just sitting at the diner by himself, like being stood up by all of his friends. It makes me so sad.
He's just
he doesn't get a
alone.
school dance. Like, hey, Sandy, if you're going to homeschool him, then you got to recreate a school dance or something. Like, give him some sort of high school experience.
For
You know
sure.
what? I do have to say though, learning how to be alone at an early age is a good thing. And that's what my daughter, an only child, they know how to be alone.
Yeah.
If they have to, because I think that's actually, it's sad, but I think also Ryan is being, Marissa is into her new life. She's been through so much trauma. We're not discussing a lot of her trauma, but we're remembering that she did have a lot of trauma. And he's being very patient and cautious. And even though his feelings might be getting hurt every time she's off with her new friends, he's also still takes responsibility for what's happened to her.
Right.
With his brother who tried to assault her.
Right.
So
And who she
so
shot.
he's okay. It's okay to look. It's okay to be alone. I always say that because as an actor, we have to go places alone. We have to be on
Yes.
location alone.
yeah.
You have to learn how to eat alone.
It's really true.
It's a really good skill.
I
Everyone
enjoy
that was
it.
just in quarantine,
Yeah.
now you know what it's like to be an actor on location and not know a lot of people and have to kind of be in a hotel room by yourself, especially
Yeah.
if weather's bad and all that.
And
Is
if
it
you're
weird
female,
that I
it's
don't
like,
mind it? I'm like, room service, movies, all by myself. I have nobody to have to answer
Is
to.
it because you're a mom too? Because
Yeah.
I don't know about you, and people are like, "Oh, we're taking a long flight in a week," and people are like, "Oh my God, you have to get on a long flight." I'm like, "Have to."
Oh, it's the
Sitting there
best.
watching movies,
Yeah.
just
a respite.
reading a book is a respite.
Oh my God.
Yes, absolutely.
Uninterrupted binging on an airplane. There's nothing better.
Nothing better.
Nothing better.
It's
Put me on
really
a plane
true.
any day by myself.
Yeah. So okay, so we're
Yes.
saying Ryan's lucky then, right? He's
We're
lucky.
saying yeah, we're basically saying Ryan's lucky. But he is so all this is happening, right? So Newport Union, of course, enter the first bully, played by Erin Foster.
I know.
First of all, her name is Heather in this, and all I could think of is Heathers, the movie.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That's
Which
how
I think is based, it has to, right?
Well, because there's
Yeah.
a lot of
There has-
references here.
yeah, for
Everything
sure.
is like for a reason. Because Heather just sounds like, I mean, it just fits. Heather's mean to me, and she played it so well. She was intimidating to me watching it.
I know, I agree. I don't know if I think it's a compliment, but like it's one of those things where it's like you were so intimidating, you terrified me. But she's so
Through
good
the
at it, and
screen.
she looks so cute with her. I like her auburn hair, red hair.
Yeah.
Look,
I
She looks
agree.
so different now.
I wonder if it's natural. I don't know what her natural color is, if it's blonde or I don't know. But
I don't
it
know.
looks
Yeah,
great.
I thought it looked great too. She's so mean to her, and then you are nice enough to her.
Nice-ish, right?
Ish,
So
yeah.
my character's best line is because she goes, "You're the first nice person I've ever met," and I say, "Well, and I'm not even that nice."
Yeah.
which is such a good line.
But then later on, I'm like, I made a note. I'm like, no, she's nice.
I know, and actually, as I was watching it, I'm like, we're really nice. Like we're
Really
so
nice.
overly accommodating. We like show up at Summer's house because Marissa's staying there,
Right.
and we're like, "Hey, we came to get you for the dance," and we're like, we're ridiculously nice. We really want to be your friends, and my guess is it's because I just want to borrow her Chanel bag, maybe.
Yeah.
Who, by
I
the
don't
way,
know.
who wears like all Chanel to the first day of public school? Like
Well,
that's
and
just,
that was such a good
Marissa.
point.
yes, of
I mean,
course.
So when they drive up, obviously it's not even everyone's staring automatically, and I'm like, oh, it's the Range Rover. No,
Yeah.
there's Range Rovers, trust me, and fancy cars in Newport. When I was in high school and we went to Newport, that's where you saw kids, no matter what, driving the Beamers and the Porsches and the fancy
It
cars.
seemed like at this school, though, for whatever reason, they were made it seem like it was the
You know
Range
what?
Rover.
You know what? When we had McGee on, he was saying that the other high school is called Corona Del Mar High. Or he was trying to imply that one of the schools was lesser than the other.
Okay.
Guys, I could be wrong because I don't know the high schools, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. But yes, we were implying that this was a different school. It was a less than school. I don't know. Or that, and now I'm getting my foot stuck in my mouth.
I mean, people got brand new cars when I was in high school.
Yeah.
I
me
wasn't one of
too.
them at all, but I had a Mustang convertible, which was very cool, by the way. I would pop that top down, turn the tunes up, and drive out of the lot feeling very cool. But it was not a Range Rover.
But you also but there were kids that had the VW Bugs, or
Yes.
you had I drove a 64 Volvo. It was my parents that bought it in 64.
That's cool.
It was and
And a very safe car, by the way.
Yes.
Volvos are very safe.
I just remember like a kid in Migraine getting like a Porsche Boxster for his first car, and I was
Oh
like,
my
Yes.
gosh.
come on. I got like a 2-year, I got a used, little Jeep. I was very excited for my car. I was super excited, but like these kids getting these cars was just insane.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think it's implied that like they pull up in a brand new Range Rover and it's like everyone's like, who's that? That must be that new girl.
Yep.
Well, and also I think what the show does, to quote Adam Brody, he was talking about how we glorify or celebrate affluence, and that is true. But now there are, like, you grew up down there. There's every walk of life in Orange County.
Absolutely,
and
especially
even
now.
LA.
No, it's so true.
For
But
sure.
on this show, what makes it fun too is I felt so bad for your character, Melinda, because she's literally going from top to the bottom. But that's also what people like to watch. They like to watch someone who has it all and then loses it all. And I
Right.
felt so sad for you at the end when you're in the motel.
I know.
Which, by the way, was in Long Beach, close to where I grew up, and it's not that bad of a motel. But on this show, it's terrible. And you're
Are you
like,
thinking of the Mermaid Inn where we?
the Mermaid Inn,
Is
which
in
is
Long
what,
Beach.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
but it doesn't exist anymore.
No.
They tore it down. But so maybe it was really bad. But you're like curled up at the end on that bed, and I feel so bad for you.
No.
And then you bring out your Louis Vuitton, and I'm like, just sell the Louis Vuitton
Right.
bag, and you
She's-
won't have to stay in the shitty motel.
I know. It was like, well, and that being said, when Julie shows up in the morning to talk to Marissa, and she's saying, "Can you stay with Summer?" And she's like, "We're getting kicked out." She's like, No, we just are. Yeah, okay, we are getting kicked out. And Marissa's like, Mom, it'll be fine. But she does say something. She said, knowing you've got money saved away. And all I could think was, Julie, being as smart as she is, we're finding out she's got this, like, we can tell by her look, is that she's like, oh no, she wasn't smart enough to be stashing away money. You would think that Julie would have been putting stuff in a mattress or something. But she hasn't. I mean, she even goes to Sandy and asks for a loan from the Newport group. And he's like, no, you go to jail for that. And then he offers to help, but she's too proud to do that. And I remember talking about remembering that scene. I know we're bouncing around, but that scene, I remember it vividly.
Wow.
Nothing spectacular about the memory. I just remember getting dressed and liking the outfit, even though it was like the tiger print dress and then the necklace and everything. And I just remember shooting quite a few of these scenes in this episode. I don't know. There's certain episodes are more, and I wasn't thinking that I was going to remember episode or season 3 as much.
Well, your character's really going through an arc in this episode of, for the first time, like she's showing your character. Julie was always so smart and so like, but she's showing this vulnerability, I think, that you hadn't shown in a while.
Yeah, and I think the writers were like, well, okay, so Julie's had all these things. Jimmy just left her. Now let's see what she does without everything. And that's a much more interesting storyline. And there was something that triggered, and this is kind of an off the episode topic, but the scene where she curls up and cries and you feel sorry for her.
Mm-hmm.
I think that day was, you know what? I'll tell the story later when I get to another scene.
Okay.
What?
Because we get to, let's talk about Ryan and Marissa. Sorry.
She's going to leave you on the edge of your seat.
I
for the whole
know.
episode.
What's it going to be? Do tell.
Because there's...
Okay, we're still with Ryan and Marissa.
So anyway, Julie, so she's going to move in with Summer, right?
Yep.
She's moving in with Summer.
Yes.
And this is, like you said, the first time that we get to see Summer's house, and there were so many memories there. And that this was actually off of Canaan Road.
Yes, it was. That is exactly what I remember.
So it wasn't near the beach.
No.
They make it look
it's on
like
the
it.
other
It
side.
was.
It was on the valley side, right?
It's closer.
Okay.
It's closer to the 101, just shortly off of Canaan Road.
Got it. Okay.
Which was actually, and we shot there till the end of season 4.
Oh,
so
that's probably why I remember it so well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we were there a lot. Because
gorgeous house, by the way, too. Like
it
oh my
photographs
God.
really, really nice. It photographs nice. Because the Coens' house is a McMansion up on the hill. It's supposed to be like Pelican Cove in Newport Beach. And this house was a little bit older, and I think it was, and it's just photographed beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning in real life, it was in shambles?
Well, okay.
Let's just move
No,
on.
it was fine.
Was it haunted? Just tell us. Was it haunted?
Basically,
No,
what
it
we
was
want to know is, were there ghosts? Yes.
No, it was a really nice house. Gosh, of course it was. I just can't imagine how much we shot there. It's, for a family, they have to kind of let us shoot there for a number of, like, how we shot there, and it's to have a film crew come in. It's very, I would think, invasive. I don't know.
Very invasive.
Do we know, were they big fans of the show?
I think they were.
Yeah, because that would be the coolest
Oh.
thing. If you have kids who are huge
Yeah.
fans of the show and they're like, our house is Summer's house, and that would be worth it.
I feel
That's a
like
good
I
point.
remember talking with the owners from time to time. We all became friendly because the show was very popular, and I think it was.
Yes.
And also, it can be very lucrative. And
Yes.
if anything happens to your house, the film crew pays for it.
Yeah. If you dent the fridge, you get a brand new fridge.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
And
Like,
not
you-
such a
yeah.
bad deal.
They scratch the floor, you get a whole new floor.
Really?
But then you're not living in your house. So
I'm
that's
like,
gotta be
wait,
hard too.
should I let my house go?
Well, anybody can list their house for production on in
Yeah.
a web, especially.
Listen, we are
yeah.
here to help people on this podcast. We got ideas.
If you want to make some money, 10
Wanna make
grand a
some
day.
money.
Is that what it is?
It can be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on how.
Not bad.
Listen, this is what this is about, right? Okay, so yes, Newport
So we-
Union, there's a bully, Heather. Casey's super nice. She's forming this friendship with Johnny, and Ryan is getting jealous. And I understand why he's jealous.
Well, yeah, because she said, because Heather said, she said, I'm sorry about yesterday. And she was like, oh, okay, no. She's like, because thank goodness you didn't shoot me.
Yeah.
haha."
So now
And then it makes her run away and cry.
the cat's out
And
of the
Johnny
bag.
tries to console her.
Right.
Thank
And
God this is in the time of flip phones and before social media.
Right?
And all of that, because I mean, there's bullying in person, but like now everyone has to deal with cyberbullying,
I
which
know,
is
it's
so much worse.
Awful.
But can we talk about the flip phones for just 1 minute?
Absolutely.
Because there's something so satisfying about shutting a flip phone
Oh,
after
yeah.
a phone call.
Yeah.
You just snap it closed and there's like power in that. And it's not as cool to have a iPhone and just be like, beep.
No.
Okay, we're
the
done. And touch it.
satisfaction. Absolutely.
Yes,
Hanging up
it's
on
so
somebody
much
like,
more
"Click,
dramatic.
motherfucker. Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. No, No, but I noticed in so many of the scenes, everyone's just like snapping their phone close. And I'm like, oh, do I need a flip phone again?
Yeah,
Maybe I do.
I do. That's for sure. I got a lot of
So
people to hang
Ryan-
up on.
Ryan sees from his vantage point, he sees Johnny's arm over Marissa, and it looks maybe a little bit
It looks
intimidating.
intimate.
Or intimate or even intimidating. And so he runs up with the wrong idea.
And she's crying.
And
Right.
she basically, he clocks the whole situation incorrectly and embarrasses her. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised Marissa was so pissed off and walked away.
Mhm.
I agree.
Do you agree?
I thought that I had the same
some
thought in the
people are
moment.
like, oh yeah, so, he fucked up basically.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he overreacted. I think I understand why he thought the situation was happening.
Right.
But she, I think, is on high alert because already she's crying. And then it's her first day of school. She's getting kicked out of her house. Like, there's so much happening.
Right.
So then maybe we can justify her reaction.
Right.
Mhm.
No, and everybody's just being human and flawed.
Yeah.
And misjudging situations.
Right.
But she walks, yes, you're so right, because what we have to do as audiences, if we are going to dissect this, think about everything that's gone on with this person.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so, especially when you have trauma,
Mhm.
how we all just keep putting one foot in front of the other. And I keep saying there's nobody's getting therapy on this show.
Right.
And so things are going to be very, very either misjudged or misconstrued, or feelings are going to get hurt and they're highly emotional, and it makes for wonderful melodrama.
Yes. And of course, and on top of that, you're a freaking teenager in high school, which is hard.
At a new
In
school.
so
general,
hard.
at a new school.
Oh my gosh, can I tell you, my daughter she went to Oakwood and then she went to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
She was not happy that I moved her.
Mm.
And
Oh,
even
really?
though she was like, I always had it as a plan, but she wanted to go to the same school
Right.
since kindergarten all the way
Right.
through. And that's what I kind of equate the Harbor kids doing.
Uh-huh.
But it was one of the better things for her, but she was so upset.
Mm.
And it's such a big deal to do that. But Marissa, I see her being very brave.
Yes.
And then
Very
to
brave.
be a target like that, and you got to feel for the girl. And but so lucky that she has some very, very lovely.
You're welcome. Yeah, we were really nice and inviting. But I do think, we were definitely extremely nice and welcoming. And then what I love so much about Casey's character is she's not necessarily intimidated by Marissa. She invites her in immediately.
Yeah.
And isn't
She's
like,
a girl's
hey, what
girl.
are you doing
Right.
talking to my boyfriend? She's like, hey,
Yeah.
come on in, let's hang and whatever.
Yeah.
Chili's hilarious and
He's like,
annoying
"I love
and making all those comments.
I love you.
Which
Yeah.
I feel like Johnny Lewis just naturally was always like that too. So
We should mention
Yeah.
that Johnny Lewis was a very young, talented, wonderful addition to the cast. I thought he was such a lovely, it was like they were the new Ryan and Seth of the,
Yeah.
they wanted to show the equal versions of Ryan and Seth at this school. And unfortunately, we all know that he had unfortunately passed in 2012. And it's a sad situation for those of you who don't know. I suggest you look it up. It's public record that he died under very terrible circumstances. He was a troubled man, and somebody
he was
very
a very close friend of Adam Brody's, and he's playing the Seth as well.
Yeah.
So we knew Johnny back then anyway. And yes, it's a very tragic story that we don't have to get into detail, like you said.
No.
But if
his
anyone,
death was not indicative to who he is, I
Yeah.
think. And that's a good way to put it.
Right.
He was such a lovely person.
out of respect for the victim, we understand the tragedy, but
Right.
at the same time, we want to at least acknowledge that happened,
Right.
and that it was hard. It was a hard thing to hear about. So, that being said, he was a wonderful addition to the cast, and it was fun to work with them. I'd
Oh my
imagine.
gosh, it was so much fun and they were so lovely. And like I said, we were kind of this threesome that entered into this whole new experience. And I will always remember, I will always have such fond memories of our time together while we were shooting. It
Yeah.
was really lovely.
yeah. Okay,
There you go.
so
So now, when you guys pick her up, so she says you guys invite her to spend some time after school. she calls Ryan. Ryan says no problem, even though he's waiting for her. He's like giving her space.
Which is really sweet. You see the heartbreak on him. He sees her with us walking away and he's like, no, I'm just leaving. I'm not even there yet. And he's watching her walk away, which is like, you can imagine it's almost like a parent watching their kid walk away or something like that. And he's just so lovely to her.
Yeah.
It's a good boyfriend.
And then
he is a
wants
good boyfriend.
He invites her out to a movie, and I don't understand this line. We can beat up the usher and get milk duds. Do you understand that? I guess it was just a joke when he says, "Come on, let's go to the movies. We can beat up the usher and get some milk duds."
I mean, I get the milk duds. I love milk duds, but why do you have to beat the usher up to get the milk duds? Not, I guess
it must be an inside joke that Ryan and Marissa have that we don't know about.
Yeah.
but she says she's going to do some homework, which is fine. He gives her space again, but then, he says he gets the idea that Seth gives him this talking to. He said it seems to be some kind of an emotional thing. Do you want to share with me? And he explains the situation. And Seth was like, okay, yeah, and it's not rocket science. Just apologize. By the way, I love Seth in this episode. He's not being as self-centered as he normally is. He's kind of just there for everybody. And Ryan, of course, says, okay, let's go surprise her. And she's taking off because you guys are dragging her away to the dance.
We drug her away to the dance, which is like what good friends do, honestly. I feel like had we explored that storyline more, they would have been really good friends because they're like, hey, it's a new school. You got to go to a dance, which, by the way, Summer has really good advice for Marissa, too, when they're hanging by the pool. She's like, no, it's social suicide.
Right.
You need to go to the school dance,
right?
Which is so true. And I think we're all kind of like trying to help her through it. And I'm happy she went. But then it's so sweet because she says at the end that she wishes Ryan was there the whole time and that she just wanted him to be there.
Yeah, she says, I can't do my life without you or something like that. Isn't that, I can't remember
really
the exact quote.
Yeah.
But it was funny because I watched the show with subtitles. So when Ryan comes up with Seth and he's like, oh, I thought she was doing homework, makes a comment about surprise drop-ins. And as Ryan and Marissa are coming up, you can see you couldn't hear it, but the subtitle of you guys going, Chili or somebody says, he looks mad. And Chili goes, I think that's his look. It's just like these little comments.
That's such a good line.
Yeah, but you can't hear it.
Right.
I love the subtitles always reveal more of what they're saying.
That is funny.
But then again, it was a very interesting thing where you guys come out and Summer says,
like,
sorry for
man.
the confusion. He's like,
sorry,
woman, a little heads up.
Yeah.
So
let's talk about the Seth and Summer and the Taylor because I like this storyline very much.
Oh my gosh,
good one.
So
It's
Taylor.
a good one.
Yeah.
I of course remembered this. I remembered Taylor and her storyline. I did remember this. But watching it, I was so mad. Because
it's so good though.
It's so good.
It's such a great storyline.
Taylor totally dupes Summer. She gets her good. She gets her
I
good.
felt
know
bad
why?
for you. I felt really bad
Yeah.
for you because you go out on a limb and you're like, okay, you're right. You don't want someone to just have a nice summer in your yearbook. No
Right.
one deserves that. Okay, fine. You can join the committee. You're really sweet. No one likes Summer. You're giving her the benefit of the doubt. And then all of a sudden, she's
you know why she fell
stabs you
for
in
it?
the back.
You know why she fell for it? Because she's telling the truth. Taylor really doesn't have friends.
No.
She really doesn't have self-esteem, or she
Right.
really has bad self-esteem. And all of those, everything she said to Summer is actually true.
Yes.
And then when she says, go help so-and-so with an octagon, she goes, she really is a pinhead. Oh my God.
Right.
Autumn Reeser is just so wonderful in
She's
this
so
show.
good in this. She is so good at that
So
character.
good at
too.
that character. Too good. But yeah, and this whole thing playing out.
Dean.
I love when Summer gets mad. And
because she kind of reverts to like, skank.
Yeah.
That's not the only word she can say.
Yeah. She just blurts it all out. But just when she catches her and Dean Hess, it's war. It is war.
It makes me want to immediately watch the next episode.
Me too.
I mean,
right?
and this is in the time before binge watching.
Well,
so I'm like,
yeah.
oh my gosh, what are you going to do? How are you going to handle this? Because you hadn't even told Seth yet.
Right.
You were at the school dance.
Right.
Not
and
yet.
the school dances she took all credit for. That Summer did.
I know. And then she named it the end of summer.
That is the single best line of the episode. When she goes, officially the end of summer. Best dialogue.
I revert to Summer and I'm like, oh no. Okay.
Oh no, she didn't.
No. Like I want
She's
to
the
go
human-
after her.
She's the human tsunami. And I love when Seth says, I had to make her take a jog around the school or something.
Okay, I have one issue with this episode though. So
Yes.
Seth shows up at the Newport Union dance with
On
the
a
streamers
skateboard?
and the punch bowl.
But what did he do? He calls Ryan and makes the worst suggestion. I just don't want you to think that this is the time when I was going to lose her and I should have done something.
Yes.
Way to plant the seed.
Plants the
Seth.
seed,
And he was
but
like,
shows up with a skateboard
Yeah.
as if he skateboarded
Yeah.
from one dance to the other.
Yeah.
Not sweaty, not out of breath. I'm like, okay, guys, come on.
Yep.
Could we not have come up with like maybe another solution? I don't know.
But
That was my one thing.
did you hear the improv from Adam Brody though?
No.
What'd
Where
he
he
say?
goes, can I have a ride? Because my left leg isn't working so well right now or something like
Okay,
that.
well then I like it because then it's funny.
At least he
'Cause he
tried
makes a
to,
point.
he tried to make
He
it.
tried to like
he
make
tried
it
to
work,
save
yeah.
it.
Which
Yeah.
makes me feel like maybe he had that same question.
For sure
As
he
we were shooting
did.
it.
For sure he did. Knowing Brody, he for sure had that question.
Okay, but the kiss, can I just say the kiss was like the way they shot it. So you see her and you can see that she's kissing someone. And it was kind of great the way they shot it because
Going back to Taylor and Dean Hess.
yeah.
Yes.
Because later on, we find out later on that Seth is like, are you sure you saw what you saw? But it was shot and that's the only conclusion. Of course
Right.
it was him.
Right.
But for a moment you're like, it was, right? There's no question about it.
It's so taboo too. It's
I
like, wait
know.
a minute. Taylor, Miss Priss, who follows all the rules, is gonna do that. And by the way, how old is Taylor? Like, do we know?
Yeah,
like,
it makes
is
sense.
this borderline? Like,
Like at least Luke and Julie,
They
they
say
made
Luke
Luke
was
18.
18.
yes,
they say that. This is a
Yeah.
pretty big
I
deal.
know.
Yeah, but and also the dean before that. I mean, he really is. When he says, "Meet me in the locker room. We're going to clean up the locker room," and Seth is like, "This is like prison labor." I was like, "Oof, this is like a bit much." Like, when do you go to your parents and say, "I'm being,
Yeah.
Right.
tortured
I'm
by
with
this
you.
guy"?
And my theory is that Dean Hess is just jealous of Seth and all these young kids getting all these cute girls. So clearly, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Or he's under. But there was something else because I didn't. Something about. And then when. Well, the other thing that happens is Taylor manipulates her and says, I heard now that they're friends, I heard
Right.
that Dean's going
Gonna
to suspend Seth if we don't give it up. And Seth walks up and says, what? And he's just like, Dr. Bootylicious was caught. And I'm like, who's Dr.
Bootyopolis or Bootylicious?
Sorry,
Bootyopolis.
Bootylicious. What's Bootyopolis?
That's
It's a
made up-
song.
It is? I thought it was a made up
looked-
DJ name. Dr. Bootyopolis.
Well, and then you
I
said
don't know.
she
Or
was on
she?
a pedophile. And then you later on say she. So I was
don't
wondering
know.
What that reference is?
this is a Josh Schwartz question.
Interesting.
For John
Schwartz,
Stevens.
we have questions.
Maybe
Okay.
they had a different name in the original script and then it wasn't
All of these
cleared?
things are little Easter eggs that,
Uh-huh.
I haven't been
inside
able.
jokes for sure. We're
It's
just-
like
Lots of Easter
on the outside?
eggs, Yes.
It's like I like to try and solve them and I don't get them every time, but that's okay.
It's also from 2005. Seth has the best voicemail, by the way. He's like, it's 2005, you know what to do. And I was like, oh, wow, it's
Oh my
2005?
God, that's right. That's what, yes, that's, oh my gosh. Yeah, so I'm so excited to see this storyline develop with the Taylor, Dean Hess, Summer, Seth, the Harbor situation.
It's so good.
It's so
yeah.
good.
And I mean, I have to give you credit for that school dance because you did most of the planning.
Thank you.
You didn't get it in the episode,
was
but we're
a
going to give it to you
gorgeous
right now.
set.
Thank you.
It was really
so
cool.
much. How about Endless
You're welcome.
Summer? Thank you
Yeah,
very
there
much.
you go. Oh, I love it. I love it.
Endless summer. Well, and then so Seth and Ryan go back to the dance and they see that they see that she's
Happy.
having a good time.
Mhm.
And walk away just in time. And Marissa thinks she may have seen something, or you see that, but she didn't see him. And of course, she's back at his pool house. And she says, like you said, I just kept imagining you there. And then they make a deal about the next song on the radio is our song. And I don't know what that first song was.
Maybe it's Dr. Bootylicious.
Well, maybe it was Bootylicious, because that is a song.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't think it was.
Is it Destiny's Child?
I don't know.
I
We'd have
couldn't
to go
remember.
backwards. I
Beyonce?
couldn't remember. But then the second song
Is-
is
Wonderful. It's Forever Young by Youth Group.
So it's a cover of Forever Young.
And this is what the OC does so well at the end of every episode. You guys recap all the storylines with this awesome song. I mean, the music is a huge part of this show.
Yes.
And you guys recap all these amazing storylines with these great montages to these great songs. And that's what kicks it off
Yeah.
for this episode.
This was
so good.
Forever Young was my parents' wedding song, I believe. They are no
Was it
longer together,
really?
but
Oh my gosh, I love this song.
Why do I feel like Josh Schwartz knew that and then put this in the episode? I feel like he does stuff like that all the time.
he definitely does.
So Alex Patsavas said that they asked youth group to do this cover for the OC.
Oh, wow.
They did a lot of that on this.
Oh, I believe it.
That was actually the end. I mean, that goes into that montage of Summer and Seth dancing and Kirsten and Sandy having the picnic dinner and Julie crying. But that was the end of it. But we did want to mention that there was this thing going on that we found out about Kirsten and Charlotte. So we're now finding,
right.
Kirsten is now back and she and Sandy, they're getting back and she's planting an herb garden. And I got to say something. When she says, ooh, do you want to take a shower? Kelly does sexy really well with the, the way she grabbed him and she's like,
It was nice. I didn't remember them being sexy, but in this episode, their relationship is. And she's got a good understated sexy. She doesn't try too hard.
Yeah.
But she's sexy. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I also love that we're not just, she takes off. She has this whole thing about, when Charlotte calls her for lunch and then she meets her. And it's so funny, though. So, she's talking about selling the Newport group. And then when they meet for lunch, Charlotte, I'm just out of rehab, but will you give me $2 million to invest? It was a little not subtle. They just
and you see Kelly's face that she's onto her. Thank God.
She kind of goes, it feels like she should. Or at the very least, it's inappropriate. I don't have that kind of money. And no, I'm not that good of a friend. And also, she just politely, we never get to hear exactly what Kirsten's thinking.
Right.
But she basically says, yeah, no.
Well, there could have been good small talk in front of that. And it actually could have been them getting to know each other. And then also the next scene would have been her asking for the money.
Right.
But they were like, just get to the point. Let's just have her ask for the money.
Yeah. We found out that it feels like admittedly, because I've read about it and I've heard about this, that they were told to add a female character. And you can kind of tell that the writers it feels like they weren't that interested in the storyline, or it just doesn't feel.
And then the delivery boy who delivers the flowers is the guy she makes out with in the end. And then they assume the audience won't remember that. So then her line is, and she loved the flowers, by the way. To remind the audience that he was the delivery boy.
Well, they featured his face so that you can see it. And we find out what the con actually was, that they spent $30,000 to go to rehab to get a mark on this person, and that they picked the wrong person. I was like, oh, they're not very good at this. But when she has lunch with her and she kind of plants this seed about, selling it and, you're trying to get rid of the last vestiges of your dad. But this all kind of leads up to what I wanted to say, that I really appreciate that Kirsten, when Sandy finds her at Newport Group, that she wasn't off going to drink. She wasn't off for oregano. But we do see, she's not talking about Rebecca. See, ever since she went to rehab, we see she's not talking about Rebecca, which she was talking about. She's talking about her dad. And we all know, and it's whether it's Freud or your therapist tomorrow, which I'll find out, is we have daddy issues.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it's a real thing. And she's realizing that my dad was there. I could never reach him. And she's still processing something that's very real. And I appreciate the show for not just gliding over what Kirsten's been through and, and that she needed to just say goodbye.
Right.
So I appreciated that.
Yes.
And Sandy is the most patient husband on the planet.
He's the most patient husband and the best husband, and then just shows up with a picnic. And like, how about we have a picnic? I'm like, oh my God.
And they're getting back to, when you think about the whole season 2, when you think about season 2, everybody was apart. And now everybody's back together. And I was reflecting on all of the villains are now new people.
Right.
Coming at our core cast. Yeah.
Right.
So I know Josh doesn't necessarily like this season, but I like it.
Yeah, I'm into it. I mean,
I think it's interesting.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, I shouldn't make that broad statement, but
yeah, no, there's just a lot of new things being introduced. Obviously, how the season ends, I'm not looking forward to. But I am into it. I'm remembering some of it, so it's going to be a fun ride.
We're now at Summer's house, which is like you guys have the most fond memories of that
Yeah.
the whole experience.
Don't you remember pancakes?
Or regretful.
Pancakes at the house.
Of course, I remember my bunny. Oh, shoot, I don't remember it being at that house, though. I remember being on stage and like ducks were built, and I'm like crawling through ducks. Like DUCTS is what I'm saying.
Wait, but why were ducks built? So that you didn't step on the floor?
Is there like an earthquake episode or something? Is that right?
The earthquake episode?
Is there an earthquake episode?
Are you talking about quack quack ducks or ducks?
I said DUCTS. Not to be confused with ducks, not to be confused with just kidding. Okay.
So what I remember from this episode, and it's either this episode specifically or one after. Do you remember when Ellen came to the stage?
DeGeneres?
Ellen DeGeneres.
No.
She was like in her second or third season. Remember when we did her show, the whole cast?
No.
Rachel.
I have many issues, people, okay?
Okay, so the show was, Ellen did a special thing where one of the fans, a super fan, she surprised a super fan and drove her to the set of the OC, and they got to meet Ben, and they came on the set, and it just so happened that I'd finished working, and so I took Ellen and her crew around the set, kind of as a tour guide. And I feel like and I said, this is where Julie just cried and in this motel room. And then we went on set and Ben and Misha were doing the dance. And they were there and they got to see that. And then as a cast, we went on her show.
Cool.
And you can watch all that on YouTube.
That's so fun.
So,
I feel like that would be a show that would be so fun to go on.
Yeah.
Did you play any cool games? I'm not asking you, Rachel, because you don't remember.
Yeah. No, we just had a quick talk. We had the whole cast on and we didn't get the whole episode.
Wow.
We got one
I
segment.
feel like I'm on the set here in the pool house right now. Super fan over here.
So that's that episode.
Yeah, that's that episode. And speaking of super fans, we have a couple of super fans, fans that called in with questions for you.
Yay. Oh,
Woo-hoo.
I'm glad. I can't wait to hear.
Hi guys. Oh, I'm so excited for this episode. I'm grinning from ear to ear. So I have a question for Kayla. I just wanted to ask if you have a process and what it is to prepare for your auditions. I would love to know that. And also, I'm obsessed with Directionally Challenged. Absolutely love it.
So nice.
You've helped me through so much and I'm just so grateful. So thank you so much. And I love you, Melinda and Rachel as well. Bye, guys. And this is Leanna.
Aw.
Oh my gosh,
Thank
Leanna
you.
is amazing. You're incredible. Thanks, Leanna, for that question and all the love and for listening Directionally Challenged. Yeah.
Yes.
A process. Yes, of course. I feel like every person every actor has a different process. Mine has obviously developed and become more what it is now. But at that point, I'm trying to remember what my process was. I think it was make sure you memorize because I was still new to acting and I would get really nervous. And so I remember there were times when I would screen test for something and a lot of the dialogue would go out of my brain and I would get so nervous. So for me, it was really pound the dialogue into your head at that point. And like I said, specifically for the character of Casey, it was familiar and very similar to, I think, who I am as a person. So I don't know if there was a lot of backstory necessary because I grew up in the same city. I went to the same type of schools and all of that. So it felt very familiar to who I am. But yeah, I think for me, it was mainly managing nerves was the big hurdle that I had to kind of step over. And then maybe not get so sweaty during makeout scenes. That would be good, too.
Well, don't you think that, because a lot of times auditions can be within a day or two, and the only thing we can do is, the most important thing is, for me, it's memorizing that dialogue. because I'm not a good look down and see it kind of person.
Yeah, and sometimes it's 14 pages, so it's a lot. And
Right.
yes, you're telling a story, but maybe you're not telling a story you're so familiar with and all of that. But for the role of Casey, there was a lot of fun. There wasn't a lot of, it wasn't emotionally draining. It wasn't a lot of things that obviously other roles have had. But specifically for that one, I think I knew I would be nervous because I was such a fan of the show. So it was pounding that dialogue into my head. And thankfully it worked. So that's good.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kayla, just like you. And my question is, how do you relate to your character on the show? Like, what are your similarities and differences?
First off, congrats on the awesome name. Your parents are so smart. I could use some of that because I have a baby boy and we do not know what to name him, guys. So any boy names, throw them at me. I'm totally open for baby Volchek. Oh, I love it. Could you imagine? Yeah, so I relate to my character a lot. There were Casey surfs in it, and I grew up surfing. I got my first board when I was 16 and loved it. My brother's a really good surfer. My dad would go out with him all the time. So there were a lot of similarities. I loved being able to shoot on the beach. I think shooting on the beach is so nice because there is something so relaxing about the ocean and the sand and being on that. And so a lot of our scenes took place, not in this episode, but a lot of scenes in this episodes coming up were on the water. And who can complain when you're in a wetsuit on the water shooting a hit show? Life is good. So there were a lot of similarities between Kayla and Casey.
You should get on Fantasy Island in Puerto Rico.
Ooh. That's a reality show, right?
No.
Oh,
That's what CG said.
What? Is it a reality
not
show?
Love Island. No, the TV show on Fox. They shoot in Puerto Rico on the water.
Stop it.
Yeah. I
Wait,
just came
did you
back
say
from that.
Love
Did you
Island?
Oh my god.
You're talking about Fantasy Island.
Yes, and she said, "Is that a reality show?" And I said,
Fantasy.
"No."
You're saying that's Love Island. Sorry, got it.
Wait, okay, so you're on a new show called Fantasy Island?
So it's a show from the 70s that's a remake.
Okay.
On Fox.
Oh my god, I can't wait to watch.
Yeah. No, I just did one episode.
Who cares? No, you're going to be back. Don't you worry. No one just uses Melinda Clarke for one episode. Just wait.
But it is on the beach. I was like, I can't believe I'm sitting here in Puerto Rico and we're just anyway.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so
no, that's
what's
there are pinch me moments as actors. That's definitely one of them.
Oh my gosh. Well, you are just so lovely and refreshing.
Yes.
This was so
glowing.
fun, you guys. Thank you. Thank you for having me. You know, when you're pregnant, there's not much you can do. So hanging out with you guys is so fun.
I also noticed something. You and I got married on the exact same date, September 12th, 2015.
No way.
Yes.
Hey, oh my gosh. I didn't know that. That's amazing. Well, now it's going to be so easy to remember your wedding anniversary.
I
So
know,
I'm just going to text you and be like, hey, happy wedding anniversary.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's so cool. By the way, you guys, it's so fun to see you because when we recorded Directionally Challenged, we were all virtual.
Yes.
And
Right.
it's so fun to see you in
I
person.
know.
It's been so long.
I wish I
know.
was there.
We have
I'm
so many
sorry
fun
I'm
memories. We
not.
miss you.
I
No, it's okay.
know.
I'm just glad you're healthy and good.
Thank you.
And thanks for having me.
Aw. Yeah, thank you so much for
Thanks, guys.
coming
Mwah.
on.
This
You
was
were
so fun.
so awesome. And congratulations.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yes. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. Please follow, rate, and review. Welcome to the OC Bitches, wherever you listen to your podcast. And if you like to watch us, check us out on YouTube.
Bye.
Bye, bitches. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to start with the pilot episode and catch all of our episode recaps.